Good afternoon and welcome back to Planet Doug. And in keeping with my theme of late on this channel of finally visiting places that I've been thinking about visiting for a long time and just never got around to, today it is finally time to hopefully get a Frosty root beer at A&W. And I'm told that this A&W has a strong history. I'm not entirely sure. It could be the very first A&W in Malaysia, or it could be the very first one that had a drive-through element. And it's here in Petaling Jaya, and in fact it's right beside the Taman Jaya LRT Station. So easy to get to if you're interested. Hop on the Kelana Jaya Line, come down to Taman Jaya, pop out, you come out these stairs. That's the only exit in the entire station, basically. And then right across the road, vintage A&W. So I'm gonna walk around the building if I can. But yeah, you can see the age in the building. I think the interior has been renovated and modified, but it looks like they left the exterior alone. This is probably all original, I would think. Let's see if anybody minds me coming all the way around to the back. Okay, I thought this was going to be a drive-through area, but it isn't. This is just the rear entrance. But yeah, from here, you can see all original signage, I think. I know a little bit about A&W because it's very popular in Canada, though oddly enough, the A&W in Canada is a separate company. It's like the A&W Canada split off from the original American company and is now completely separate. But from what I saw online, we have 1,000 outlets in Canada, A&W outlets, but they're all Canadian A&W. It's not related to this American franchise operation, which I wasn't aware of. Anyway, get underneath the barrier, back around to the front. A&W has quite a history in the United States. It's one of the oldest fast food restaurant operations in the United States, may even be the oldest. It was founded by, if I got the name right, Roy W. Allen in 1919, and he started off in Lodi, California, and he didn't have a full restaurant in those days. In 1919, he actually set up a root beer stall, like on the street, selling his own brand of root beer to troops, like American soldiers returning from World War I back in 1919. And his root beer, I guess, was very popular. And he had an employee, Frank Wright, and he ended up partnering with Frank Wright to found A&W in 1922. And that's where the name comes from. A is from Allen, Roy W. Allen, and the W is from Frank Wright. So they put their initials together and called their, in 1922, and they called their restaurant A&W. Yeah, A&W, ice cold. Love that sign up there. Look at that. Yeah. Huh, very interesting, because I did read online that they renovated this outlet, but every time I saw it from the LRT station or the LRT train, it looked abandoned to me. It looked so old and abandoned, so it made no sense to me. But it turns out, I think, that the interior was modernized, but they didn't touch the exterior at all, which is very cool. You don't generally see that. Love those signs. Even this looks like the original sign too. I don't know how old it is though. Like this particular outlet, I don't know when it opened, but I understand that it is a big part of Petaling Jaya history, where like I said, I think they had a drive-through, maybe even servers on roller skates serving the cars. Well, maybe not drive-through, what do you call it, where you park your car and then the server comes to your car. And then in classic American fast food, they would do that on roller skates. And maybe they did that here as well. And then there was a big hangout for young people, and then very popular place for families, for birthday parties, things like that. And root beer is an interesting thing. You might wonder where the name root beer comes from. And my understanding is that it's called root beer because it's made from roots of plants. Like it's made from roots and herbs and spices like sarsaparilla, sassafras. These are like plants, and they get the roots, and then they ferment the roots with a whole bunch of other spices, and people have their own recipes with anise, you know, like that black licorice flavored anise, which adds a lot of the flavor. And then I think the key, anyway, so that's where root comes from. And originally, when it was fermented, it actually had a little bit of alcohol in it, like just minuscule amounts. But because of the fermentation, it did produce a little bit of alcohol. And I think a lot of these drinks, like root beer, even Coca-Cola, they were originally sold by pharmacists because in the United States they were considered medicinal drinks made from herbs, roots and herbs, and it was supposed to be healthy, supposed to be good for you. And so they started off as drinks at pharmacies, yeah, like a medicinal drink, which is kind of interesting. They have a sign there, "Party with Rudy. Celebrate your birthday here." I knew that I think they've had that same mascot, the bear, forever, but I didn't know that he had a name, Rooty, so that's something new. And I think one of the attractions of A&W in the United States and in Canada was that the root beer was served in a frosted mug. Like the mug, big, thick, heavy glass mug, was put in a freezer. So it came out of the freezer ice cold, and then you poured the root beer in. And I guess root beer is supposed to have a foamy, creamy texture to it, which is what makes it stand out from Coca-Cola and other sodas. So there you have it. Everything I know about A&W, dredging my brain for any facts that I can come up with. One other fact that I remember is that the original root beer made with sassafras something or other, they eventually stopped using that ingredient, but because they discovered it was carcinogenic. So that particular ingredient, I don't have the name quite right, yeah, they don't use that anymore in the root beer recipes. But I guess root beer itself predates A&W, so when Roy Allen made his original root beer, he wasn't inventing something brand new. The drink itself had been in North America for a long time, and he just had his own recipe for it, his own take on it, and then his was delicious, apparently. Led to A&W success around the world. I think there's like 1,000 outlets worldwide. If you combine United States and all the countries around the world, that comes to like 1,000 outlets, including Malaysia, and then 1,000 just in Canada, which is crazy. But as I said, it's a separate company, I think. I don't know how many there are in Malaysia. I typed A&W into Google Maps and I counted the results, and it came back with like nearly 70 outlets, which seems way too high. So maybe I made a mistake, but yeah, could be as many as 60 or 70 in Malaysia. So that's it for the outside. Let's go in now and see what's going on. Yeah, you can see already the inside has definitely been updated, modernized. I'm inside now, and I asked one of the servers how old the place was. He couldn't give me an exact year, but he said it was 61 years old, and that would take us back to founding in like 1963, which is my birth year, so I'm the same age as this A&W, 1964, something like that. And it's clearly a pretty popular place. Yeah, a lot of people still here for the lunch rush. So there's the front counter, and they have a root beer draft mechanism for pouring out the root beer, which is kind of cool. But they also have the automatic ordering machines, which I really love. So I'm going to try to figure out how to use that. And of course, I'm going to try to get something that includes root beer. So there's like combos. There's a matzo combo with a root beer, double cheese. We'll figure that out. And then the seating. Oh, there's the root beer float that they're famous for. I think it's an extra 1.5 ringgit to get the scoop of ice cream. And then here's the seating area. I saw online there's a lot of photos. Oh, a lot of seating back here. That's great. Oh, history. That's cool. So everything I said about A&W is laid out here on the wall, and maybe this display will make a liar out of me. But no, so far I'm okay. 1919, Roy W. Allen. Root beer stand in Lodi, California. And it was a citywide party, homecoming for World War I soldiers. And I guess he opened another root beer place. And then in 1922, he partnered with his former employee, Frank Wright. And then they called it A&W, A for Allen and W for Wright. And then it just went into a history of franchising. Of course, I'm interested in what happened in Canada. So I guess they opened their first ones in Winnipeg and Montreal in 1956. And at some point, as I said, the Canadian A&W split off and became its own company. But that's cool. They have some vintage photographs here. And there's a modern A&W, a relatively modern, looks like from the 70s or 80s. So yeah, their history goes all the way up until 2011 to the present. And from what I read, okay, so there are approximately 1,200 around the world, including 350 international stores in 15 countries, and Malaysia would have been one of those countries, of course. But yeah, 1,200 worldwide, plus 1,000 in Canada, also called A&W, who I think sell basically the same products. Oh, okay, right there, 1963, A&W expanded to the Philippines, Malaysia, and Okinawa. And the original bacon cheeseburger was born. So maybe that's what I have to order. I didn't know that was a specialty. Okay, 1963 is probably when this one opened up. The lineup dropped a little bit, so let's see if I can order from one of the machines. So here's the machine, and I'm not sure how you do the touch and go thing, but we'll figure that out. Touch to order, dine in, and then you go through the burgers and sandwiches. That's what I want to get. And let's go for a simple cheeseburger. And I can make it a combo, regular or large. We'll go for large, 18.8 ringgit. Select combo item. So root beer large, definitely, right? So I can get one of those. And then, oh, customize for the cheeseburger. So these are all add-ons. I don't really need anything extra. So yeah, I think I get fries, root beer, and now I assume you click on my cart. Review, cheeseburger combo, curly fries, root beer, cheeseburger, that's fine, 18.8. Checkout down here at the bottom. Touch and go is here. Total. Yes. So now what? Oh, pay here. E-wallet. Please show QR code to the scanner. So let me get mine ready. Please refer to payment terminal. Okay, so then I just hold this here. Authorization. And there you go. I am the master of technology, am I not? The one thing missing from the experience for me is table service. That would be the root beer on the cake, or that would be the vanilla ice cream on the root beer for me. To be able to just sit down and then they bring it to your table, that would be ideal. They do that at McDonald's here, table service. But one other thing I've noticed is that waffles seem to be an A&W thing. I'm seeing a lot of references to waffles. And they have a please show your receipt at the waffle station. Maybe that's only a morning thing, I don't know. I'd never heard of A&W waffles before, but maybe that's a thing. I also saw in the Google Maps listing, a lot of people posted photos of car events, part of the nostalgia of going to A&W. So people here in Petaling Jaya or KL, the greater KL area, who have a classic car of some kind, a club, they would arrange to meet here on a weekend or something, and they park all of their classic cars out here, and that they get A&W, part of their childhood, I guess, nostalgia for them. So there's the draft pour of the ice cold root beer, and they still get the mugs out of the freezer, which is nice. So there you go, full mug. I don't know if they're plastic or glass. I'll find out when I get mine. So mine is already ready. There it is up there, 4746. So actually that root beer that I saw being poured, that was mine. So good timing on my part. So yeah, there it is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So there is my tray, and it is glass. It's ice cold glass mug, like right out of the freezer. So there you go, A&W. So before I even sit down, I have to sample the root beer, because I've never been a big fan of root beer, to be honest, like as a drink. But of course I have to have that here. I think it's the lack of carbonation. Like when I get a Coke or something, I really like the bubbles. I like the carbonation. And this is it's hardly carbonated at all, just a little bit. It's more like a smooth drink. But yeah, classic root beer flavor. So it looks like this is the waffle bar, which I didn't know anything about. I don't know if that's a new feature at A&W or is it part of its history, but if you order a waffle, this is where you come to get your waffle, not at the main counter. Nice touch. They have their own bathrooms here, which is cool. A lot of restaurants and cafes in Malaysia, the bathrooms will be outside the restaurant. They share it with other businesses, and you have to leave your table, leave the premises to go find the bathroom. But here at least they have their own. So here we are. Being the professional that I am, I took a seat with the history wall behind me. And I love straws. You don't get straws anymore. So I buy my own biodegradable straws, big packages of them at the store. And so I bring my own straws with me everywhere I go. Things just taste better when they come out of straws. Much better. So apparently I got curly fries. Oh yeah, they curl around, curly fries. Not super hot. They didn't come out of the oil, but a bit of herb flavoring on the outside. One thing, fast service. I honestly thought I'd be waiting a long time based on how many people were here, but my order was ready way before I thought it was. So just by accident, I ended up recording them pouring my root beer. So yeah, because it was just being prepared much quicker than I expected. And since we are in Malaysia, you generally don't get ketchup. Ketchup is not a popular condiment here, so you get the same red packets, but it's chili sauce, not ketchup. Sometimes if they see that you're a foreigner, they know that you grew up with ketchup, and sometimes they'll give you ketchup instead. But here, I've gotten accustomed to the chili sauce. I kind of prefer it now. I like it better than ketchup. Powered through my Crispy Bites curly fries. And here's the burger. Nothing really to report about the burger, to be honest. It's not really hot at all. Same with the fries. They weren't hot at all. And it's pretty basic. A beef patty and a piece of cheese and a bit of ketchup and mustard. White bun, sesame seeds. Pretty much what you would expect, fast food burger. The one thing that jumps out at me though, I hadn't thought of this before, is that when you get the drink, I've been drinking a lot and it's not gone yet. So it feels like you get more root beer than you would a Coke at McDonald's. Because of course, to keep the drink cold at McDonald's, they add ice. And depending on the day you go, and the preparer who made your drink, they could fill the whole thing with ice and you get just a little bit of Coke, right? You sort of like, all the Coke is gone and you got a giant cup of ice left over. But here, feels like I got more root beer because the mug is the ice, right? Because it came straight out of the freezer. So this keeps the drink cold. And because of that, they don't feel the need to add ice to keep it cold. So maybe you get more volume. It just feels like if I were at McDonald's and I drank that much, the cup would be empty already. But here, there's still lots left, so that's a good thing. And that's it. My lunch is done. Curly fries, cheeseburger, root beer, and yeah, beautiful day. So this vintage building really stands out against the blue sky, fluffy white clouds. Yeah, I'm glad I made the effort to come out here. Very interesting. Got me thinking a little bit about my own childhood, of course. As I said, when I was looking at the Google Maps reviews, most of the reviews made some mention of nostalgia, people saying they've been coming here for 40 years. It was part of their childhood. So when they write the review, it's tinged with nostalgia, how many good memories they have of coming here with their parents, when they were kids, and then coming here today with their own kids, keeping a tradition alive. I thought about getting another root beer with the float on top, but to be honest, the root beer I had, as I said, was quite large. Could be imagining things, but it seemed like a lot of root beer for the money because there's no ice in the glass, so it's all root beer. So I didn't really want another gallon of root beer on top of the one I had. So yeah, there it is. And I think that is it for this video. Shutting down. Going to hop back into the Taman Jaya LRT Station, which is right over there. Head back into town. Thanks for watching the video and hanging out with me here at A&W. Oh, two last notes, I guess. I saw in a lot of reviews people were saying that this was the first A&W in Malaysia. So I was saying maybe it's the first, maybe it was the first with a drive-in. But people in the reviews, they were all saying the very first in the country. Also, when I first got here, I kept talking about drive-through, looking for the drive-through, but it wasn't drive-through, it's drive-in. There's a distinct difference there, of course. Drive-through, you go up to a window, get your food through the window, and then you drive away. This was a drive-in outlet where you park your car and then a server comes out to your car. That would be a drive-in, like a drive-in movie theater. And I guess I never made that distinction because growing up, I missed the drive-in era. That was more of the 50s thing, I think. 1950s, you watch a sitcom like Happy Days, and there would be a drive-in where a server rides on roller skates up to your car, and that is a drive-in, not a drive-through. So this would have been a drive-in A&W, not a drive-through. Small distinction, but I like to get my language right. I'm a big believer in accurate vocabulary. So that's it, shutting down. Hope you enjoyed that, and if you ever need a taste of nostalgia, here it is waiting for you at A&W in Petaling Jaya.